Hello everyone, welcome to week 1 of our distance learning. This video will be longer than a lot of the other ones that I'll be releasing once a week to give you an overview of what's expected. So for this one, I just want to focus on a general overview, big picture, what can you expect for the next 8 weeks. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using documents from both English 2 and 3, but the information is general enough that it'll apply to everyone regardless of your period or your level. Okay, let's start by going into Google Classroom. I'm going to go into English 3 first period. Just like I've always taught you guys, first thing I want you to do is always click into that classwork tab, please. Once you get in there, you will see our new topic called Distance Learning 2020. Go ahead and click into this document. I'll read the directions to you here real quick before we even get into it. On Monday, 4/13, we will begin our distance learning for English 3. Please read the attached documents thoroughly and email me with any questions. Please note that some students will be completing this work in hard copy form, and the work may differ slightly from what is on Google Classroom. Do not get confused if the tasks your friend is being asked to do are slightly different. Both versions of this work will be accepted for equal credit. So what I mean by that is there are students who don't have steady or stable access to internet that are going to choose to be completing their work for all of their classes or maybe just a few with hard copy versions, and they may end up being a little bit different. So just because your friend in English 2 is doing something a little bit different and you're in English 2 and you're doing something with me on Google Classroom, just don't worry is my main point with that. I will post additional screen recording videos walking you through the assignments, but it should be very clear in the document, and as the weeks go on, things will become easier and feel more routine. If you have a question regarding the video, I will ask you to provide the code word said in the video in your email so that I know you watched the video in entirety before coming to me. I will say a code word every single week. This is just to make sure that people are actually watching the video and taking time to try to figure things out on their own before coming to me so that we can continue to build those skills of being independent learners and not being dependent on me all of the time, okay? So I do want you to spend time just trying to figure things out and don't be afraid to try and make mistakes. I will be here with you every step of the way. We're gonna get through this together. Overall, I want you to constantly remind yourself that just like when we were physically in our classroom, I will continue to make every decision with your best interest in mind and make every effort to make sure that you are successful. I got you. We got this. So just remember that as you work through this, okay? This document is not to trick you or to make things difficult or to confuse you. It's set up so that this can be as clear as possible. Let's get into the actual document. I've created a copy for each of you. Luckily, we are all very used to working like this. You guys know that when I push out assignments, I create a copy for every single one of you, and you can work in it that way. And I'm able to see when you viewed it, how many times, etc. Okay, and it keeps us both on the same page. I will skip some of these directions. Just a quick note, if you do receive help from another teacher, they have all been added as guardians or co-teachers in our Google Classroom, and they will have access to all of your assignments, and they'll be able to offer additional support there as you are used to get normally when you're in school. Okay. Every single week we'll have 2 types of assignments. You will have a weekly personal reflection assignment. I will get into the details about that later on. And you will also have a literary assignment, which is basically just your notes page around the theme courage and compassion in crisis. This is the theme that we'll be working with from now until the end of the school year. Quick reminder, as you work on your assignments, go slow, reread, take breaks when needed. And as always, when you have questions, seek help. from myself, maybe your friends, maybe even your family if that's available to you. Then we will meet up for 2 summative assessments. So the first one will be due on May 8th, and the second one will be due on June 5th. Just to continue and have some sense of normalcy, I will continue to grade the same way as I always have, which is a blend of participation and assessment grades. Okay. These assignments are, of course, required and you'll be given credit for completion. However, your work done here can only help your grade. I will give you a weekly participation grade for staying on track with these assignments, in addition to assessment grades on May 8th and June 5th. So that's the same as it always has been. When you go into Synergy and you see all your green daily participation points, you'll be getting those weekly now. And then when they show up as red, those are, of course, your assessment grades. We talk about that all the time in class. You know that they are just grades that are weighted more heavily in my class. Okay. There is a schedule that was released by the school that is a suggested time for you to work on your schoolwork for each of your different classes. Of course, you do not have to stick to this strictly. Many of you are working, many of you have other responsibilities that don't allow you to stick to this schedule. That is totally fine. I think it's more of a guideline and just some structure for those who need it or want it. So if you look here on A day, well, we are moving to a 4-day week, kind of in a sense, with A day and B day. A day will be Mondays and Wednesdays. So if you look here, period 1 from 9 to 9:30, period 2 from 9:35 to 10:05, a break to snack or do whatever you need to do, period 3, 10:25, 10:55, period 4, 11 to 11:30. And then, of course, your B day classes, Tuesdays and Thursdays, period 5, 6, 7, and 8, same schedule as over here. I will hold office hours every day from 12 to 1 p.m. That's every single English teacher, and I believe social studies also. And advisory will be on Fridays. Depending on your grade level, you'll be having advisory at a different time. You aren't going to have to be in a live lesson. I think it's, again, just a guideline. Okay. During my office hours, I will offer support and tutoring via email. Most of you prefer to email me, or we also have access to Google Meets now, which is pretty cool. So I want to take a moment to show you guys that. If you go back to our homepage, right here, this is how you guys have joined classes in the past. You just need your class code, and now you can click on this little link and it will open up a video chat with myself, or I can add you and we can figure that out together, okay? And that's just another way for us to communicate and for me to offer some help and guidance on some assignments. Here's what I would consider to pace myself so that I don't get behinds on work and I don't feel overwhelmed. Mondays and Tuesdays, I would do a personal reflection journal entry, one of them, and I would read my choice source and start to take notes. Maybe you will finish them, maybe not. Wednesdays and Thursdays, you'll do another personal reflection journal entry, and then you will finish those source notes, which will make sense in just a moment. And then you'll do one more reflection journal entry during the weekend. This means that every single week you will end up with 3 personal reflection journal entries plus a source notes page. That will be due by 11:59 p.m. every Sunday. For these weekly assignments, you do not need to email me anything. I will just check to make sure that they're done by clicking through this document, as I always do. Okay, normally you guys will ask me, do I need to turn this in? No, there's no need. I can see what you are working on. The beauty of having one huge document like this is that this is what you'll be coming back to every single week. It's just in this one place, just to keep all of us organized and so that we all, I don't know, just don't feel overwhelmed by having a bunch of different documents floating around. I did the math, and if we were to all do different assignments for every single week, just for me, that would be 1,200 different assignments by the end of this 8-week period. And I would like to just keep this as simple as possible for everyone. Right now, less is more for sure. Let's talk about the weekly personal reflection assignments. These are basically just gratitude journals, okay? Studies suggest that writing in a gratitude journal 3 times per week for 5 minutes each time might actually have a greater impact on our happiness than journaling every day. With that said, you will keep a gratitude journal for our final 8 weeks together. There's no wrong way to keep a gratitude journal, but here are some general instructions as you get started. For each entry, write down up to 5 things for which you feel grateful. The physical record is important. Don't just do this exercise in your head. You must keep track of this somewhere. You can physically write it out on a sheet of paper or in a notebook. If you do that, you'll scan this to me. If it's handwritten, that can be a bit more work for you, but I totally do not mind if you would like to have that physical experience, or you can type into the gratitude journal doc, which is attached. So let's go back and find that document also. Let's go to classwork. Let's click on gratitude journal. I have posted an example for you here. So what you'll do for each, give this just a moment. For each entry, you will write the date, and then you'll list those 5 things. Okay. First one I have written is I'm grateful for coffee because it is a part of my morning ritual, and drinking it every morning helps me feel like there is still a sense of normal in this crazy world. I'm also grateful that I'm able to talk to my family and friends on FaceTime, and in some ways this time has allowed me to get even closer to them. Those are just a few examples. You may have some things in common with me or not. Okay, this will just be a master document for the next 8 weeks. Just right here, guys, keeping it really, really, really simple as we always do. Let's go back to our master document. I'm not going to read this entire thing to you. I would like you to go through it on your own. What does the literary assignment look like? You will create 1 note-making page per week per source. Okay, so over the next 4 weeks, you will do 4 note-making pages for 4 different sources. And then I'll give you credit for those 4 for your first summative assessment, which is May 8th. And then you'll continue to do another 4. You'll get credit for those as your summative assessment 2 on June 5th. Just as I have always done, you're kind of getting double credit here. I'm giving you credit for keeping up week by week and staying on top of your work. I'm also giving you credit again for it when you turn it in as a summative assessment. So you're getting your participation grade here. You're also getting your summative grade. And of course, your summative grade will be worth more, as they always are, because by that point, you have had a chance to do a note-making source 4 different times. You've had practice. You should have grown. You should be understanding it more and getting better at it, and therefore I will give you more credit so that we can continue to cultivate that growth mindset. Let's look at a notes page. So you will just go in here, you will type in your title of the source. All of the sources are in the bottom of this document. So I've opened up 2 here because I think that's most helpful. And I'm going to scroll until I find my first source. So my first source is by Elizabeth. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. Svoboda maybe. So Elizabeth, Svoboda. Okay. Oops. That's the author. So I'm going to put that down here. And then my title, I believe, was Could You Be a Hero? And I know that this is an article. You can just put an X there. It really doesn't matter to me how you do that, or a check check mark, what have you. Okay, this is very similar to annotation that we've done in the past. I do want you picking out those vocabulary words that you don't know yet, that are unfamiliar, or that stand out to you. You'll record those along with your definition. The chart is a little bit confusing, I think, the first time when you approach it, and then it will become a lot easier. So this says, as you read, respond to the below prompts in the right column. And this one, your commentary and evidence, says, using the prompt in the center column, respond below using evidence from the text. That just means that you're writing here. Okay, so you will identify a main idea, theme, concept, or belief conveyed to you in the text. You'll make a connection to your life. You guys are great at doing this. The world, or another text. Okay, if you are in English 2, you might be making some connections to Kill a Mockingbird, since that's what we ended on. Then you will reflect. That just means thinking about what the passage suggests to you, about the larger themes in the text, and then you will evaluate, make a judgment based on what is taking place in the text. I am going to hold back from modeling this entire thing for you because I would like to give you a chance to figure it out on your own, and I really just need to see where you guys need more direction and where I can kind of let you figure things out on your own, just as a barometer for me to readjust and change this as we go on. Okay, so if you've done your 3 entries in your gratitude journal and you did 1 note-making page, right? So let's go back to that first note-making page, which I may have already lost. Source 1. That's week 1. Okay, that's really it. I will come back to this document. I will come back to your gratitude journal. I will make sure that you have done both of them, and I'll give you your participation grade. You should be able to see in Synergy that I've already put in an assignment for week 1. Obviously haven't put any grades in there, and I unfortunately cannot show you Synergy, as there's no way for me to not show you personal information, but you can go into your own Synergy and you can check in there. Let's make sure that there's nothing else. I think we're going to keep it just there for now. Just week 1. Of course, you will have your summative assessment 1 due May 8th, but I think we're going to, I'm going to wait to give you more directions as we get closer to that. Okay. If you have watched this entire video, the code word is elephants, and I will ask you for that code word when you email me a question. Okay. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and taken care of, and that you are finding ways to just get through this and feel okay, and that you're finding some positive in it. Okay. I will talk to you soon.